Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down. Bitch, you ain't no Barbie. I see you work at Arby's. Never too super silent. Hurry up, I'm starving. Gnarly, radical. On the block, I'm magical. See me at your college campus, baggy full of Adderalls. Call me if you need a fix. Call me if you need a boost. See them other chicken heads, they don't ever leave the coop. I'm in the coop cruising. I got the stolen plates, serving all the fiends over there by the Golden Gate. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. The basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. The basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I spoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down.
Do you agree that there's no such thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, and all the other isms? Destiny, that's a woman's name. You were raised by your daddy and mama. That makes you half man and half woman. You are a beta. You're not a real man, beta. I just have one question for ya, beta. There's just one thing I want to know. Destiny, do you love all people? Do you really love the blacks? Destiny, do you love black people? Why can't you just answer the question? Destiny, do you love all people?
System, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. I stood. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
I said certified freak.
There's some
7 days a week.
There's some
Wet
whores
ass
in this
P word.
house.
Make that pullout game weak. Yeah, 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 you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. It continues along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
I keep that thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. They see me selling propane and now they trying to copy. Pretend to be broke, but I got hella cash. If you use charcoal, I'ma kick your ass. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he didn't make his payments. Fuck with me, I keep a rocket launcher in my basement. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he didn't make his payments. Fuck with me, I keep a rocket launcher in my basement. Oh man, goddamn, I caught Bobby jacking off. Syrup ain't no cough. Big Hank, break the law. Lady Bird, that's my dog. Peggy got that wet, I'll flip you like a tech deck. Yeah, I run my set, I'm running up them checks. If you using charcoal, that's a red dot at your head. Propane till I'm dead, bitch, I'm off the meds. We be smoking loud, and you smoking on mid. Me and Dale getting lit, and I'm running from the feds. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he didn't make his payments. Fuck with me, I keep a rocket launcher in my basement. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he didn't make his payments. Fuck with me, I keep a rocket launcher in my basement.
brain. Think of all you have to gain as your dreams go down the drain. Come on, wagey, join the crew. Don't you want your wages too? And if the boss man makes you blue, you deserve it, you're a screw. Can come round after ages. You can come collect your wages. Through your parties, have your rages. Then head back to your cages.
Let's go, chat! It's a BBR broadcast! Weekend's coming! Can't wait! How you doing? How you been? Be full of hype. Full of hype this morning. So much good content on the way. Let's go. Blasting off. weekend. Gotta make some music. Blast off, let's go! Coming at you from Montreal. It is a pretty cold fucking day. Hope you're doing good. Hope you got caffeine, water, good rest, good vibes. It's gonna be a good stream. Looking forward to it. I'm gonna check out the Depp v. Heard testimony. Other crazy news. Twitch be changing up on stuff. It might mean emotes. I'm thinking maybe I do become an affiliate. Get those sweet. Oh god. Maybe I do become an affiliate, and then we get some fresh emotes. Everybody, wouldn't that be exciting? I was holding off on it because you can't stream to YouTube at the same time, which is crazy. And I definitely want to do that. But now that we're hearing that Twitch basically hates its streamers and its viewers, I think I might join might join the affiliate program. So yeah, otherwise we'll get to that later on. I hope you're all doing well. We got ourselves a good stream today, got a bit of news lined up. I'm curious to catch up on some of the testimony given, most especially the testimony by a forensic psychologist in the Depp v. Heard trial. I think that might be pretty interesting. So we're gonna check into that, and then afterwards, if there's time, we got a couple other news items. Most importantly, that Twitch stuff, which is gonna be a little ridiculous. Okay, yeah. Also, there is, a bunch of Russian oligarchs that are turning up unalived. So that's gonna be interesting to find. Being defenestrated. Boost my mic, really? I broke my mic stand, everybody. It's part of the problem. I gotta get a new mic. Good morning, how you doing? We got ourselves a new follow. And that's from Half Baked Takes. Yeah. It's like an actual based American. Conservative American. Holy cow. Can you believe it? So yeah, we're going to get into the news. We're going to check that stuff on out. And then we're going to get back to Twitch nonsense. Maybe see if Twitter's been sold to Elon yet. As we're all finding out, which billionaire is going to buy the next public square is the question. But it is early. It is 7 a.m. We're going to get into some good content. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. We'll kill the Nintendo music because we're going to have actual talky talk. And I think this is just a shorter version. I don't know if it goes the whole bit.
No, I'm a licensed.
Here we go.
All right, you have your seats. All right, cross-examination. You can sit down, ma'am.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, so cross-examination.
Dr. Curry, you're not board certified,
Can you hear
correct?
that okay?
No, I'm not.
Not in clinical psychology or in forensic psychology, correct?
No, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
But you're not board certified?
No,
Okay. And you also
Not sure
have
the
only
difference
been
there.
practicing approximately 8 years, is that correct?
that's not correct.
Oops.
How many years?
Oops.
I've been licensed for
Already
10
off to a
years,
good start.
and I've been practicing for about 15 years.
Okay.
Okay.
All
And that
right.
includes what you went through with your different trials in Hawaii and everything else that you testified to, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Now, you went to Mr. Depp's home for dinner and drinks before you.
Dinner and drinks, everybody. Ooh, sounds spicy. She had an interesting
To
reaction.
Mr. Depp's home for dinner and drinks before you were hired as an expert in this case, correct?
That's not quite right. I was.
We are 1 for 3, everybody. Actually, 0 for 3. Not a single question asked by her has actually been like a correct framing. She's had to correct her every time.
interviewed at Mr. Depp's home by his legal team. Dinner was served.
You, in attendance
Wow, what a
with
difference.
Mr. Depp was Adam Waldman, correct?
Yes.
Ben Chu, correct?
Yes.
Camille Vasquez?
Yes.
Okay. And the dinner lasted approximately 3 to 4 hours,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
So I'm
And
a
it
goof. I'm such a goof. I'm such a goof. Did I not move over? Now watch, I'm gonna mute myself next. Oh geez. Sorry. We're gonna go over this. I'm a goof.
4 hours, correct?
here we go.
Yes.
And it included
interview.
drinks, correct?
Yes. Dinner and I believe drinks
Man, the top streamers make it look so easy, everybody.
were served.
Okay. And this was before you were hired as an expert, correct?
Yes, this was an interview so that they could make an informed decision as to whether or not to retain me.
And don't you think that's a little odd that you're getting interviewed by Mr. Depp to decide whether you're going to testify adversely against Amber Heard?
I was interviewed by the legal team.
Yeah, that's a different
And
thing.
Mr. Depp was present. It was his home, correct?
Wow, got her.
He was
Got her. Did you or did you not take the interview in his home, surrounded by his lawyers?
serving dinner and drinks.
He was
correct?
not serving dinner and drinks.
Well, it was at his house, at his behest, correct?
Yes, it was at his house.
Okay.
The audience looks very bemused. There's a lot of smiles in the audience. Oh my goodness.
And you were contacted by Camille Vasquez, somebody you knew in the community, in February of 2020. Is that correct?
I knew of Ms. Vasquez professionally. We live in the same city, and I work with many attorneys.
Okay. Seems
And
about
at
right.
that time, you not only knew Johnny Depp, you'd seen a number of his TV and movie roles, and you believed he was a good actor, correct?
Not correct. I did not know Johnny Depp. I
Well,
had
you knew
seen
of
several of
him.
his movies.
You knew who he was,
Yes.
right?
okay,
And you
it's a bit
believed he
different.
was a good actor,
Yes.
correct?
Okay, sure.
And then you provided an expert designation in this case before ever seeing Amber or having an opportunity to review any documents or records. Isn't that correct?
I did not provide an expert designation. That
Yo, if every question you're asking is ending with, is that correct? And then the person's like, no, it's not correct. Like, you did not do your homework. Oh my goodness, this lawyer is already in like flames.
that's an attorney thing. My opinions are contained in my report.
Let's pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 884, please.
Oh man, I thought this was going to be ridiculous, and it's been already, like, we're not even 5 minutes into it. It's been nonstop ridiculous. I cannot believe this is crazy. How do you ask like 6 questions in a row and get all of them wrong? Like,
This was plaintiff's designation, identification of expert witnesses in this case. And this is dated February 2021. That's a year after you went to dinner at Mr. Depp's house, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
a year after she went to an interview where dinner was served, according to her framing. A little different there.
And it attributes, if you go to page 13, it says you have 3 opinions. The first of those is that Amber Heard, quote, exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster B personality disorder traits, especially borderline personality disorder.
I don't think I know what
Did
that
I
is.
get that right?
I'm reading that here. That is not my opinion.
Okay, but
It's a current
attributed-
opinion, but this was not an opinion of mine then. I didn't have any opinions at that
Yo, we're like 0 for 8. We got to put a score counter up top.
time.
It says Dr. Curry will testify, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay, and this is a signed pleading, correct, on behalf of Mr. Depp?
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
We don't understand
You don't know what a signed
what a
pleading?
signed pleading is?
Understand what that means?
We don't understand what a signed pleading is?
No.
Okay. Do you understand that Mr. Depp's counsel prepared this and served it on Ms. Heard's counsel?
I'm not an attorney. I don't understand necessarily all of these procedures.
You mean you don't understand jargon? But what if I explained it with more jargon? I've completed and marked an MMPI2. They're my favorite assessment. Oh, okay, cool, nice. Are they complicated? Also, good morning, Lacey. How you doing?
Are you aware that Mr. Depp is on an audio recording years earlier taunting Amber Heard that she has a borderline personality disorder?
I was made aware of that in this case, yes.
So you did, is that one
Actually,
of the audio
not
tapes you
necessarily
listened to?
taunting, but I do recall hearing that Mr. Depp had used that phrase.
So it's a coincidence that you now think she has those attributes after the attorneys listed it in February 2021 before you'd looked at anything, and Mr. Depp had made that accusation to Ms. Heard years earlier.
My opinions aren't based on coincidence.
It's objection. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Dr. Yes.
Objection. Objection. A lot of scales, and there's great research on the assessment. Oh, okay. Morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. It's a coincidence then that you came up with symptoms of borderline personality disorder years later after Mr. Depp has been taunting Ms. Heard in an audio tape.
I
calling her-
can't speak to whether or not there's a coincidence. What I
Wait,
can tell you is my
what?
opinions are based on the results of my evaluation.
Oh no, lawyer, you walked into the trap. What? How is she being outmaneuvered so handily? You ever ask someone, was it a coincidence? The person just has to say no.
And it's a coincidence
Oh, not again.
that Mr. Depp's counsel attributed that to you, that said that to you in February 2021 before you'd looked at anything, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, would you agree that a disproportionate number of women are tagged with a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder?
No, that's not quite right.
Wow, another one wrong.
75%?
The way you phrased it is not quite right.
Tell me what's right.
Okay, so there are more women who have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder than men. It's more prevalent in women.
More prevalent is different than disproportionate, right? Because disproportionate is usually about populations and how much of this affects different populations. And I guess, yeah, like male and female are pretty big populations. The lawyers are grasping, where did Amber find these clowns? You could see a couple cracks forming, but really, this is pretty bad. This is looking pretty ridiculous at this point. Like, this is 0 for 12.
And trauma can cause borderline personality disorders, can't it?
No.
Oh
Never?
my God, stop.
Right now, we know
Stop.
that there are people who have borderline personality disorder who have sustained childhood trauma. There are also people who have borderline personality disorder who have had no childhood trauma. So like most personality disorders, and really like most mental health issues in general, there seems to be both a biological component. In this case with borderline personality disorder, the research tends to support a genetic component and possibly a neurological component.
Okay.
And then there is also
right.
possibly an environmental component
Okay.
triggering those genetic markers.
Do you know the
People just-
percentage of women who are victims of IPV, intimate partner violence, or domestic abuse who are diagnosed with borderline personality disorders?
I can't tell you the percentage off of the top of my head, but I do know that there is a larger, women with borderline personality disorder tend to have a higher prevalence of being involved in intimate partner violence relationships, being the receiver of violence, and being the perpetuators of violence.
Now, you've never been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has a bipolar disorder. Is that correct?
A bipolar disorder?
Yes.
That's not correct.
Oh man, stop. Yeah, this is like, for me, this is like watching a lawyer who has not taken like a philosophy of science class or something, like is just missed out on something. So all of their phrases are just missing that little bit of nuance, a little bit of technicality that scientists just fucking love. Just absolutely gotta have some nuance there, some special jargon, some particular terms, you know. It's prevalence, not, you know, what was the word? Disproportionate. Yeah, here she's getting caught all up. Did not understand the research. All of her questions seem to be like very novice. So yeah, this is amateur hour, at least for this little bit. See how long it continues.
Bear with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're gonna skip ahead.
That was the date, yes.
And we're
Okay, here we go.
in this case.
Yes.
On March 21, 2020.
Do you recall having
in this case?
Yes,
On March 21, 2022?
I believe that was the date, yes.
And were you under oath at that time?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask you to turn to page 207.
The lawyers prepped for their integration. Yeah, of their interrogation. Yeah, the cross-examination. I mean, she's asking questions that seem to be in the area. It looks like they're trying to build a case where they're painting this as an unreliable expert witness because she has obviously bias towards Johnny Depp because, you know, when she went to her interview, Johnny Depp was present and food and drinks were served. Therefore, I don't know. I guess I've never been to an interview where food and drinks have been served, but actually maybe I have. No, usually it's like an office setting or whatever, but it's not crazy, especially like as you get higher up into real work, into professional work. Like that happens all the time. Yeah, let's go have lunch and see if this could work, you know, if you're a right fit for the firm, you know.
And the question was, have you ever been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has bipolar disorder? And your answer at that time, will you please read to the jury?
I'm sorry, page 207?
207, line 5. Could you
No.
read? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Now, when this designation was served in February of 2021, you had not rendered an opinion that, quote, Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster B personality disorder traits, especially borderline personality disorder, correct?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part. What was that?
When this designation was served that you have in front of you as Plaintiff's
Yeah.
Exhibit 884,
Oh, okay.
you had not rendered an opinion that, quote, Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster B personality disorder traits, especially borderline personality disorder, correct?
No, I had not rendered any opinions. My opinions weren't finalized until after my evaluation.
Right. So when this came out, you had not rendered that opinion?
I had not rendered that opinion.
Okay. The second opinion that's
So that-
listed in the
I guess
February
that's like timeline stuff, I guess.
2021 is that Ms. Heard repeatedly and characterologically perpetuated severe physical and psychological intimate partner violence, IPV, toward Mr. Depp over the course of their relationship. End of quote. Did I read that correctly?
It says perpetrated, but other than that, yes.
Okay. And so is it correct that that this pleading
Yikes.
says in February 2021 that you are going to testify to that?
This document, yes.
Okay?
It says that.
And you have never been asked to testify as to whether anyone has behaviorally or characterologically conducted conduct that suggests they may...
I'm sorry, what? Characterologically? Is that a word? Is that an actual word? Did they make up a word? Stop. Characterological. Wow. German-speaking countries. Oh, that's the problem. That's the real problem. They're using German research, everybody.
Maybe an IPV.
That's why the word's so fucking long.
Okay?
It says that.
And you have never been asked to testify as to whether anyone has behaviorally
Sorry.
or characterologically conducted...
That's a German word. Characterologically is a German word. It's just a German word. It's just was implant. You know how we have French words, you know, like cul-de-sac. That's a German word. Characterologically.
conduct that suggests they may be an IPV perpetrator, correct? I have to ask that again because I
Yes.
stumbled.
IP
I can't do characterologically. That one's
No, it's because it's a made up word. It's not meant to be spoken. It's meant to be read. It's one of those words you read. You don't use it. You rework the sentence so you don't have to use that word.
just a tough one for me. Okay. You have never been asked to testify as to whether anyone has behavioral or characterological conduct that suggests they may have been an IPV perpetrator, correct?
No, I've never been asked to testify for that.
Okay. And that was not your opinion in February 2021, correct?
No.
And in fact, you do not hold that opinion now, and you were not even asked to provide such an analysis or opinion. Isn't that correct?
No. Or that is correct,
That's
yes.
correct.
Oh,
Okay.
right. Yeah, okay.
And you have never held that opinion, correct?
No, that is correct, yes.
Okay. And your third opinion,
You've never had that opinion, correct? You know? Yeah. Yes, I have not. Ooh. Yeah, no.
if we can go to page 14.
Whew, confusing questions,
Was it
man.
Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false? End of quote. Do you see that?
I see that. You said it's my third opinion. That is not my opinion.
All right.
Oh, wait,
But in
what?
this pleading, it says that you will testify to that, correct?
Yes, that's what this says.
Okay. And that was not your opinion in February 2021, was it?
No, as I said, I had not formed any opinions at that time. I had just been retained.
And in fact, you have never arrived at this opinion as an expert witness in this case, correct?
As an expert witness in this
In terms,
case.
no, the opinions that I've rendered are provided in my report.
Yeah.
And
They're what I'm testifying to
We're going around in circles, everybody.
today.
And you have never arrived at this opinion as an expert witness in this case, correct?
I'll sustain.
You have never arrived at the opinion that Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And in fact, you've said that has never been my opinion, correct?
What I'm saying is that the opinions in here, these are not my opinions. My opinions are provided in my report.
Can you please turn
Wow.
to
Seems simple.
page 255
Pretty straightforward. Just making a lot of hay out of,
of your deposition?
like, which words of hers matter. Can you please
And
clarify?
if we can start on 254 to give the
I don't
context.
have that page, I'm sorry.
254, line 11.
Oh, okay.
And the question is now, the next one is, quote, Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false, end of quote. Was that your opinion in February 2021?
She hasn't
And you
even
answered
found-
at that time, no, correct?
She's
That
trying to
is
find the
correct.
page.
And then I asked, have you ever arrived at that opinion in the time that you have served as an expert witness in this case? And your answer was, could you read that to the jury, please?
Yes. So no, it's not the task. I was cut off, or essentially what I said then was, no,
Dr.
that's not
Curry,
the
okay.
task of Dash. That was never my task to determine. Can I say what that means?
No. And then the question is, so is it fair to say that you have never arrived at an opinion that, quote, Ms. Heard
That was good. That was a good moment. That was a good moment.
Not the task of Dash. That was never my task to determine. Can I say what that means?
No. And then the question is, so is it fair to say
So yeah, this is a pretty vague statement. Can I just clarify the fuller meaning behind the statement? No. That'll be devastating to my case.
that you have never arrived at an opinion that, quote, Ms. Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that suggest allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false, end of quote. And what was your answer?
Wait, are they still going? Yeah, this is oh yeah. If there's anything that I'm not worried about, it's that the court content is just gonna keep going and going. There's been some crazy courthouse stuff. I didn't see him getting flowers, but I saw people like showing up to boo Amber Heard. Like, these are the worst people on the planet. Like, hey, you don't have enough time on your hands. You've already rendered a verdict, and you're like spending your time to go like ruin someone else's day. Like, what a weird vibe. He looks so happy. Okay, I'll try to pull it up in the background. How you doing this morning, Letard Youth? I'm not worried about there being content. Like, court goes on forever and ever. That's why we're like speeding up. We're looking on stuff from yesterday, and then maybe when it goes live, we'll check that out. But generally, when you watch it live, like, I just don't have the hours to just sit there and wait for things to happen. I kind of need to push it forward. Yeah.
Well, there was an objection.
Nice.
All right, I'll read
Thank
it for you if
you.
you're having
Amazing.
difficulty. Your answer was, under oath, correct. That is not my opinion. That has never been my opinion. Isn't that what
Correct,
you said under
yes.
oath on March 21st? Okay. And then I wrote, then I'm going to ask you, do you know who wrote this portion of the designation suggesting that these were your opinions in February of 2021? And what was your answer?
I said no.
Now, as of the time of this initial expert designation, you had not reviewed any materials, reached any opinions, correct?
I believe I had just started to review materials. I believe that I indicated that in my deposition. I had not yet rendered any opinions. I hadn't completed my review, and I hadn't conducted an evaluation.
Okay. And in fact, you've never testified as an expert on IPV, intimate partner violence. Isn't that correct?
I believe that is correct, but I may not be remembering all of my cases.
Well, let's go to page 200.
Okay?
Line 17. My question was, have you ever testified as an expert on IPV? And your answer under oath then at line 22 was what?
Oh, gosh, let me catch up. Line 22.
Yeah, she's like just
No.
like hammering her with the page.
And you've never testified as an expert on emotional distress damages associated with IPV, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've never been asked to testify with respect to emotional damages associated with domestic violence or abuse. Isn't that correct?
Again, I'm reluctant to say that's correct because with 15 years of experience, a lot of my cases have been complex, and that may have been a component, but I don't remember explicitly a case being just about that.
Let's go to page 199, line 20.
Fair enough.
My question to you was, have you ever been asked to testify with respect to emotional damages associated with domestic violence or abuse? And your answer under oath at that time was?
No.
I've not, right?
Sorry, I haven't found the page in time.
Okay. You said, no, I've not.
But I have not.
Okay. Now, you also have never been asked to testify on whether an individual is being truthful in saying that they are a survivor of IPV. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you have never qualified as an expert to speak to whether a person suffered from IPV, intimate partner violence, or was a victim or survivor of IPV. Is that correct?
Yo, this girl got exactly what she came for. She got it. She got this moment. She's like, oh, I hugged Johnny Depp. He smelled so good. And she goes back to her girlfriends like, he's exactly like he is in the pictures. He was so kind. Look, I made his day. That's all because of me. Yeah. I mean, Johnny's is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good so far. I'm trying to resist leaning in too hard into the simping and the I don't know, the group think. I'm good. Just woke up. Sorry, I was looking for a phone charger. Yeah, there's nothing worse than waking up and your phone's not charged and you're like, oh God, how do I start my day?
That's outside the task of a psychologist to determine whether an event occurred. We assess behavior, we assess mental status, we don't detect crimes.
So you have not been asked.
We don't detect crimes, lady. She says we're not precogs. We don't like actually know whether these things happened. We're not forensic experts or like investigators. What are you talking about? We listen to people talk and like tell them how to break out of really bad habits and stuff, or give them Medicaid. Look, what? Do you know who or what I am? This woman seems like she like does not maybe she's a Scientologist and she's secretly trying to bring down a psychologist on the stand. She's got like an ulterior motive here to just show the world how full of shit psychology is, and that's what's going on here. That's exactly what's going on.
Asked to testify to that, correct?
It's not something that occurs, so no, I have not.
And you were not ultimately asked to provide any opinions on that, correct?
No, I was not.
Okay. Now, you did not disclose in any of the designations or your report that you had met with and had dinner and drinks with Mr. Depp, did you?
But again, not dinner and drinks. So this is the problem when you do really bad research. Like she's built on a pile of sand. Her first questions were like, you went and had dinner and drinks. And she's like, no, we had a work interview and food and drinks were there. And she reframed it. So now this next question just doesn't make any sense. A forensic psychologist completes assessments and provides written reports and recommendations. Wait, why are you, what? This sounds like actual information. People don't come here for facts, Lacey. They come here for entertainment. These are not necessarily the same thing. I'm joking.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, it sounds like she's done her work. She's provided her reports and recommendations. She's just like, why are you not talking about my report? That's pretty much all you really need to talk about.
You did not disclose in any...
No, I'm thinking of like the field of psychology because it's psychiatrists, as far as I understand, that prescribe medications. Yeah.
Of the designations or in your report that you had dinner and drinks with Mr. Depp, correct?
I did not disclose that I was interviewed by the legal team, no.
I asked a different question.
Oh.
Are you trying to resist that you didn't have dinner with Mr. Depp and drinks?
Are you trying to resist the fact that you consumed food under his roof?
I'm not trying to resist that, but it's not quite right.
You did have dinner with Mr. Depp, did you not?
I did, with his legal team and Mr. Depp.
Did you not?
And what?
You had drinks with Mr. Depp, did you not?
Drinks were served. This was over 2 years ago. I may have had a drink with dinner, yes.
In fact, you thought you had a mule something, right?
Possibly.
Yes, okay. And you didn't disclose that you had met with Mr. Depp.
There is nothing more petty than asking someone like, but you did actually drink a single alcoholic beverage, did you not? And it's like, wow, like what the war on drugs like is still going apparently, like Jesus.
Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez at Mr.
You ate food with a man? Suffer.
Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours and had dinner and drinks, correct?
I did not disclose that. It's not significant to the report.
You don't think that?
Why? Curious. Why didn't you include in your report how many units of alcohol you consumed? They're avoiding the reports because their scales are alleviated in the scales of BPD and histrionic scales. Scales!
Significant, correct?
I don't.
Okay. But you've never been asked to meet with a client in his counsel before being retained as an expert, either before or after, have you?
No.
And you justified that it was okay in this case because it was a high-profile case.
That's not quite right. I justified it in this case. Actually, I sought consultation about it. First of all, the person who had retained his attorneys was unable to come to my office with his attorneys. And yes, this is a very visible case. It's been going on a very long time. And I understood that there would be a need to interview me and make an informed decision about my qualifications.
It's literally being televised to getting millions of views. And this lawyer thinks it's an own to point out that this professional is aware that it's a high profile. Like, what is this? What is this? Yeah, someone with as much media coverage as Amber having BPD and being abusive doesn't help the disorder image. Does she have? I don't know if she has BPD. I don't think I've like heard that or something like in a report or whatever. I think this. I don't know if like an actual. Because from what I understood, she didn't actually like interview Amber Heard or anything. You kind of need to do that, don't you? You've been hearing it for a couple days? Oh, okay. Well, in that case.
Can you look at page 240, please? Line 3 is my question. Would you agree it's highly irregular to meet with the subject in a litigation? And your answer on that occasion was, I would not say it's highly irregular. I would say it's not something that I would typically do. However, I had not yet been retained on the case. This was a large, high-profile case, and I understood that I believed that it was appropriate for a person retaining me with such a high profile to meet me to be able to vet me.
They haven't said anything about the assessment report. She spent 12 hours with Amber completing the assessment. Okay, so I guess maybe I just misheard at the beginning. I thought she mentioned early on about how she had not actually like based her report on a direct interview. Excuse my ignorance.
Essentially with the attorneys present prior to retaining me on his case. Do you recall that?
Yes.
That's what you said under oath, correct?
Yes.
And then I said, have you ever done that before? And you said no, correct? And then I said, have you ever done it since? And you said no, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Got her.
Now,
Nailing her to the wall.
would you agree that if you did not find something that...
Yo, this is what canceling looks like. This lawyer is trying to cancel this professional, this forensic psychologist. She's being canceled on the stand right now, everybody.
would be in favor of Mr. Depp and negative to Ms. Heard, that you wouldn't be an expert in this case. That I could bring you into court if you're going to say that Ms. Heard is right and Mr. Depp is wrong, correct?
So as a forensic psychologist, my obligation is to the court, is to the fact finder. I present science regardless of what that science may be. Now, when I take a case, my retainer agreement is explicit about that, and I discuss that with the attorneys.
I'm asking you.
Oh no! Don't let her explain her retainer requirements that require her to stick to the facts. That's not helpful to the case. Quickly interrupt with another question.
I'd like to try to answer my question. You understand that if you found favorably to Ms. Heard and negatively to Mr. Depp, you wouldn't be here, right? You wouldn't be testifying.
Speculation.
Okay, sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Objection, speculation.
Absolutely.
That's not speculation.
Yeah, that's ridiculous speculation. You're literally saying, don't you agree that your clients are so bad faith that if you didn't deliver the expert opinion they desired, that you wouldn't be here? And it's like, no, they're good faith. They hired me. They're good people. Like what? What?
Sustain the objection if you want to ask.
Okay. If
Come on, you can do it, lady. You can figure it out.
it goes to bias, Your Honor.
It goes to bias.
Okay. All right.
Oh, she's pleading with the honor. Oh, that's such a humiliating moment right here. Oh, let's watch that right back.
Favorably to Ms. Heard and negatively to Mr. Depp.
Oh, the full question.
Present science, regardless of what that science may be. Now, when I take a case, my retainer agreement is explicit about that, and I discuss that with the attorneys.
I'm asking you a question. I'd like you to try to answer my question.
So that was her interrupting her because that was not looking good.
You understand that if you found favorably to Ms. Heard and negatively to Mr. Depp, you wouldn't be here, right? You wouldn't be testifying.
Objection speculative.
No, okay, sorry.
Hold on. The objection speculation.
That's not speculation.
I'll sustain the objection if you want to ask.
Okay.
That's not what. She's like totally blindsided, completely shocked. The judge agrees. It's speculation. She's at a loss for words, absolutely flummoxed, completely flummoxed. Looks to the sky, tries to find the new thread. Can't, because the new thread is based on the previous question. Again, quicksand.
It goes to bias, Your Honor.
So good. And pleads with the judge. Oh, please, judge. I know you sustained the objection, but please. Okay, I'm done. It's really funny.
Objection. Next question.
Okay, all right. You were, in fact, so excited about being involved in this case that you told your husband, even though this was a highly confidential matter, that you were going to be conducting the examination of Ms. Heard.
Okay, come on. Yo. Did you or did you not have pillow talk with your husband and tell him about big things that happened in your day? Like what?
Or didn't you?
That is not accurate.
And
You
it's not
only
true.
told your husband, but you told Ms. Heard that you told your husband, correct?
Ms. Bredehoff, that is not accurate.
What is
Wow.
accurate?
You're incorrect. That is not correct.
Is your testimony today under oath that you did not tell your husband that you were going to be conducting the examination of Amber?
That is my testimony.
Wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I know people were memeing before about how bad this was, but that's a shipwreck. That's an actual shipwreck moment. Holy shit.
You were, in fact, so excited about being involved in this case that you told your husband, even though this was a highly confidential matter, that you were going to be conducting the examination of Ms. Heard, didn't you?
That is not accurate.
You not only told your husband, but you told Ms. Heard that you told your husband, correct?
Ms. Bredehoff, that is not accurate.
What is accurate?
You're incorrect. That is not correct.
Is your testimony today under oath that you did not tell your husband that you were going to be conducting the examination of Amber?
That is my testimony.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Shuffles papers. That's insane. Holy shit. She basically just implied that she was lying on the stand and got
Go to page 306.
got a full pushback. That's spicy. Yo. This lawyer is in shambles. I'm honestly a little amazed. This is kind of embarrassing.
Brought muffins.
I'm like embarrassed for her. Oh my god.
So the question that was asked was because you brought muffins, you said from your husband, right? You gave those to Ms. Heard, correct?
May I clarify what occurred so that we can stop talking about the muffins? What happened was that I was getting ready that morning. I frequently bring muffins to the office. My husband did happen to know that there was going to be a celebrity client coming in because on the mornings that occurs, which often occurs, we have to actually clear the office and move the staff to the other office. So yes, on the one hand, he was aware of that. I was getting ready. I asked him to go to the bakery near our house and pick up the muffins for me because I was running late. He often has to do that because I often do run late. He brought the muffins back to the house. I brought them into the office. Ms. Heard and I enjoyed the muffins together. I think I made a comment to her along the lines like, we can thank my husband. My husband got these for us today, meaning he purchased the muffins. We are now enjoying them because of him.
Amazing. Which means Amber dwelled on that comment for a year, almost a decade. Like, how long did she dwell on that comment? Like, when was this report issued? She would have been, that means she told her husband everything. She told her husband about me. She told her husband, but the reality is like, yeah, I got a big celebrity client. Can you go pick up the muffins, honey? Yeah, sure, no problem. Like, totally innocuous, absolutely common thing to hear from like a work colleague and not think anything of it. And it's being brought up in a like $100 million suit. What the fuck?
Just 305 and 306 that you frequently have examinations of.
This is funnier than the muffin scene in There's Something About Ernest. That whole muffin scene. This is actually funnier.
High-profile clients. You want to just take a quick look and tell us?
What, 305, 306?
Yeah, that's where we're talking about it.
Is there a line you'd like me to look at?
You can start with 15, line 15, 305. Just read through that and tell me whether you said anywhere in there that you have a lot of high-profile examinations. You do this frequently. I don't agree.
Won't you approach, please?
There's an objection, but I missed what the objection was.
You have a lot of high-profile examinations. You do this frequently. I don't agree.
Won't you?
You do this frequently.
I can't hear him. I can't hear him. We'll see how it plays out.
The muffins for Amber.
Oh, muffins.
Why did your husband get the muffins for Amber Heard?
Why?
He did not get the muffins for Amber Heard.
He knew you had a high-profile client, and you were preparing for a very long time, and you asked him to pick up the muffins, correct?
I asked him to pick up the muffins for me, yes.
Okay.
Wow, got him. Got him.
Now,
She admitted
would you
to it,
agree that
everybody.
domestic abuse
Can you believe it? The forensic psychologist got her husband to pick up muffins. That's basically a crime in Louisiana.
can be verbal?
Absolutely, yes.
Would you agree that domestic abuse can be emotional?
Yes, certainly.
Would you agree that domestic abuse can be psychological?
Yes.
Okay, so we've completely gone off the muffins. We're no longer talking about muffins. It looks like case closed. All she did was ask her husband to pick up muffins. And Amber must have dwelled on it for nearly half a decade, if not longer, and actually got her lawyer to ask this string of ridiculous questions. Wow. Amazing.
Would you agree that domestic abuse can be physical?
Yes.
Now, you indicated, and I believe you testified in your direct, that it's very important to review the treatment records before forming opinions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, that's the first thing you would do, correct?
Not necessarily the first, but it's part of the evaluation.
Okay.
Go to page 261.
She seems so disappointed. Let's go to
And let's go to
260.
260 because that's where I start the question. The question I asked was, do you recall whether you'd review any of these by the designation on February 19, 2021? And you said, okay, I can't say for certain. What I can tell you is that knowing my normal procedure, I would have reviewed the treatment records first. Did you testify to that under oath then?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, before we start getting into the ones that you testified about, I just want to be really clear about what you actually have as an opinion with respect to the borderline personality disorder and the histrionics. You didn't diagnose, you didn't actually have a DSM-5 diagnosis that Amber Heard suffers from either borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder, correct?
That's not correct.
Oh my
In
God.
fact, your report says Ms. Heard demonstrates psychological symptoms of a combined borderline and histrionic personality disorder. Would you agree?
Yes, I did say that in also what designation was that? I believe January 18th that report was included? Yes.
Okay. And that's what you said at that time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I said a little bit more than that as well.
Oh no, what did I do?
Or
No.
imagine that.
Oh geez, sorry. I overreacted. That's such Jesus Christ. Oh, this is
bias, Your Honor.
this is where she gets
Interjection
absolutely flummoxed. Sorry, I cannot believe
personality
what
disorder or histrionic personality disorder, correct?
what a shipwreck this
That's
is.
not correct.
In fact, your report
What
Combined-
an
So
absolute.
what designation was that? I believe
at that time,
Absolute.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I said a little bit more than that as well.
Excuse me. I think you're missing a little piece there. Yo, this lawyer is like impeaching herself on the stand. Like she's just showing how dishonest she is. What a bunch of bad faith questions. Oh my God, I'm dying.
You said,
Comedy.
and I'll read it, I'll quote it, quote, based on the
There's really good improv, just down the street in Saint Henri, and this is better apparently. Yeesh.
combined results of my interview with Ms. Heard, behavioral observations, psychometric test data, and review of the available records, Ms. Heard demonstrates psychological symptoms of a combined borderline and histrionic personality disorder, BHPD. That's
Yes.
what you wrote in your report as one of your conclusions, correct?
And that's a DSM-5 diagnosis.
And it did not say that you were diagnosing with a DSM-5 for borderline personality disorder or
what?
histrionic personality disorder, did it?
That's what it
What?
says in different semantics.
Stop! Oh my God! No! didn't. You fucking didn't.
Review of the available records, Ms. Heard demonstrates psychological symptoms of a combined borderline and histrionic personality disorder, BHPD. That's
Yes.
what you wrote in your report as one of your conclusions, correct?
And that's a DSM-5 diagnosis.
And
Oh
it
my
did
God.
not say that you were diagnosing with a DSM-5 for borderline personality disorder or a histrionic personality disorder, did it?
That's what it says in different semantics.
Amazing. This lady literally didn't understand the words that she read on the page. She's like, why am I here? yeah. I mean, good thing she's here because she's had to rebut pretty much the entire framing. And it's gotten so bad that this lady read her report and didn't realize that describing symptoms of the disorder is akin to diagnosing it. Oh God, brain people school. I honestly, lawyers, this is like what they're supposed to be good at, is being able to kind of handle the complexities of different professions and move around at least understand the nuances. And this lady is coming up against the rocks again and again. She is a ship out at sea, absolutely decimated. I cannot believe how bad, we're halfway through and she is having one of the worst moments of her political career right now. I don't know how you'd practice again. You're toxic at this point. Like, no one's gonna hire this lady again, ever. Oh my gosh, what a fucking disaster.
Oh, so what you meant to say...
It did not use the words you just said.
She's like, you lay person, just because we didn't use the word diagnose or diagnosis doesn't mean there wasn't one. Oh no.
Let's talk about the treatment records that you said that you reviewed. But I'm going to start
She said that off mic. Let's talk about the treatment records.
with Rocky Pennington. Your testimony...
Johnny ends his testimony with a recording of Amber telling him to tell the world he is a man. He is a domestic abuse. Okay, we'll watch that after this clip, I think. I really wanted... Yeah, I saw some clips circulating around it. And I definitely want to watch it because, from what I understand, it's a bit of a slam dunk.
Was that out of the blue, Amber hit Rocky Pennington, correct?
I can't remember exactly what I said, but I did reference Ms. Pennington's deposition that Ms. Heard struck Ms. Pennington in the face.
In
Yes.
fact,
Oh, wow. Ooh, okay.
Ms. Pennington testified that she hit Ms. Heard. And in response to that, she can't recall, but Ms. Heard either pushed or slapped her, correct?
I don't recall.
That's a pretty important distinction.
Big step for male abuse victims for sure with the way this case is going. Yeah. I hope it's not like the whole like really crazy pendulum swing where all like the weird far right weirdos, come out from the woodwork and are like, see, women are awful. I knew it. I was right to take the black pill. This is why women won't date me. I just hope it doesn't cause those people to get excited or anything. I hope we just all develop a more complex understanding of human relationships. Yes, sometimes men can be victims of domestic abuse. It does happen. It can happen. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not in our consciousness. It's really not there. It's most societies, the idea that men are the victims of domestic abuse is just null, does not exist. And now we're seeing in the West that idea starting to form. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Distinction, don't you think?
My recollection is that there was some sort of violence both ways in the relationship. Either way, it seems that both of them might have been unstable. I'm only evaluating Ms. Heard.
So now
Oh, wow. So she actually both sides it. And honestly, that's a fair take because there's no way you can listen to Johnny Depp stuff and think he's stable. You can excuse it by saying, well, maybe it's because of all the domestic abuse. But at the same time, he's definitely abusing drugs enough to make him not totally in control. Yeah.
now we have an evaluation of Rocky Pennington
No,
from...
I just said, but that was not relevant to my opinion because I'm only evaluating Ms. Heard.
But you testified to that on direct that was a factor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, wouldn't it make a big difference if Amber struck first or just responded back?
Given the dynamic, not necessarily. No, it would not have.
So now you're an expert on Rocky Pennington and her dynamics with Amber Heard. I'll withdraw.
What kind
Okay,
of a
so
question?
now
She
let's
is
talk
just
about-
actually... She's just that was just sass. That was just full on sass. It was just like, wait, now look at you. Now you're look at you. Was it even like a question?
You testified to that on direct that was a factor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, wouldn't it make a big difference if Amber struck first or just responded back?
That question, wouldn't it make a big difference?
Given the dynamic, not necessarily. No, it would not have.
So now you're an expert on Rocky Pennington and her dynamics with Amber Heard. I'll withdraw.
Sustained.
Okay, so now let's talk about
Sustained.
Dr. Cowan. You not only reviewed his treatment records and his text messages and documents, but you also attended his deposition, did you not?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying that Amber told him about Depp physically abusing her contemporaneous with the events?
I don't recall specifically his words, but I remember him recalling that she had disclosed abuse in their treatment, yes.
And do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying that he received a text message contemporaneous that Johnny did a number on me tonight. I'm safe in my support tonight, but I need some real help. Do you remember him testifying to that?
I don't remember the testimony, but I do remember seeing that text message as one of the exhibits.
And do you remember Dr. Cowan testifying that on another occasion, Amber sent him a text, Johnny beat me up pretty good last night, end of quote.
Again, I...
Not in this Constance, she can rely on it. She testified.
Overruled.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I didn't need to argue that hard, I guess. Do you recall that?
God.
Again, I don't recall the testimony, but I do remember that being an exhibit. I've seen it.
Do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying that not only did he believe Amber in her reporting of the abuse by Depp, but that she had no ulterior motive?
I actually don't recall that. I'm not saying that it didn't occur.
Okay. Do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying that he believed the relationship was toxic and he was concerned for Amber's physical well-being?
I do recall him saying that he believed the relationship was toxic.
Is she really just referencing, like citing favorable testimony and then asking this forensic psychologist if she's been privy to it, if she's actually seen it? And she's just like, yes, I remember you presenting that evidence earlier. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember Exhibit A from the UK court trial.
You don't recall
I do
Dr.
not.
Cowan saying that he was concerned for Amber's physical well-being?
I don't remember those exact words.
Do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying in that deposition that you were present for, referring to Mr. Depp, quote, his controlling nature, jealousy and suspiciousness, addiction to drugs and alcohol, and violent and indulgent temper? Do you recall him using those terms to describe Mr. Depp?
I remember thinking that would be an inappropriate impression for a treating provider of a different person to give.
Oh, wow. Wow, she's like throwing shade on that person.
But I do recall him making that statement.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I remember him saying the thing that was kind of full of shit.
Those terms to describe Mr. Depp.
I remember thinking that would be an inappropriate impression for a treating provider of a different person to give. But I do recall him making that statement.
Do you recall Dr. Cowan testifying that if he pushed her, she was going to push him back? And I never had the impression that she was the provocateur, but that she was indicating to me she had a hard time, de-escalating these types of situations.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you also recall him saying that she didn't say she pushed him, she just said, I got right back up. She told me that he pushed her down and she got right back up.
I remember him saying that Ms. Heard told him that, yes.
And do you recall him testifying, you could interpret it that way? I kind of interpret it more, metaphorically, that when somebody comes at her, she goes back at them, in a similar way, whether it's verbally or she protects herself. Do you recall that?
I recall something along those lines, but it was a 6 or 7 hour deposition, so the specifics are not fresh in my mind.
Do you recall Dr.
fair enough.
Cowan specifically testifying that he believed Amber Heard when she reported the physical abuse by Mr. Depp?
I recall him saying that and following it up with a statement that you have to take the patient at their word when you're the therapist.
You recall that?
Yes?
Do you recall him saying that he believed her? That he found her believable?
Yes, that he found her believable.
Okay. Now, you also testified about Amy Banks. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And before we go there, Dr. Cowan has been...
And before we go there, like the video, the stream, follow if you're new here. Check it out. We're growing, we're blowing up.
Clinical psychologist for 40 years, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, he testified to that, didn't he, in the deposition?
I don't recall.
And he also saw Amber Heard for over 2 years, correct?
Yes.
From 2014, approximately August 2014 to 2016, correct?
Yes, he did.
For a period of time, would you agree? Okay. And he also testified that he did not diagnose Amber with borderline personality disorder. Do you recall that testimony?
He also testified that he doesn't use diagnoses, but yes, I do recall that.
And do you recall that it was in, those words were in his notes? But he said he had written that down, but then he discounted it and determined that that was not correct for her.
What?
Oh, you want to approach?
What kind of a question is that? You agree it was in his notes that he then later discounted. Don't you remember that internal thinking process he went through? Like, I don't know how she's expected to answer that question.
All right, now let's jump to Amy Banks.
Ah!
Dr. Banks is a psychiatrist, correct?
Yes.
In fact, she went to medical school at Georgetown, and she did her psychiatric training at Harvard Medical School, correct?
I believe that's correct. I don't recall 100%.
All right, and she was a psychiatrist in Massachusetts that Amber Heard had reached out to
Yes.
after the Australia incident to try to help her relationship with Mr. Depp, correct? Let me back up. You attended Dr. Banks' deposition as well, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And Dr. Banks testified to that, correct?
I don't remember if she testified.
Again, literally trying, it's like she's trying to launder the opinions of Dr. Banks through this Dr. Shannon Curry. Like, she's trying to pipe those opinions that, you know, Johnny Depp's a good person or a bad person or whatever the opinions Dr. Banks had through this forensic psychologist by saying, can you confirm that you were present when he said all those things? And it's like, yes, I was present.
That I don't have the notes right in front of me or the deposition transcript.
All right.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you recall Dr. Banks testifying that she understood that Amber was in a relationship with Johnny Depp that had gotten violent and out of control?
I don't recall specifically, no.
Do you recall Amy Banks testifying that they had physical altercations and his drug use had escalated and Amber felt she was at risk?
I don't recall.
Do you recall Amy Banks testifying that Amber was reporting the violence by Mr. Depp and it was not consensual?
I recall Dr. Banks stating that Ms. Heard was reporting violence to her, yes. I do not recall a statement about consent.
Okay.
Do you recall Dr. Banks testifying that there was discussion about Mr. Depp cutting off his finger, and she said only that it was a middle of one of these very kind of out-of-control escalated fights, and that did make a fairly big impact on me?
I remember something like that.
All right. And do you recall Dr. Banks saying it was a whole other level? As I remember, it told to me he actually cut off a part of his finger during one of these altercations, meaning to me, the way I digested that, if you will, was that things had gotten particularly out of control.
Wow, and now trying to launder this idea that Johnny chopped off his own finger by piping it through Dr. Banks' testimony, which is then piped through Dr. Curry. Holy cow, this is diabolical. This is a really strange... I didn't realize how unusual and bizarre this cross-examination was. I just, you know, like I was just interested because I saw a few clips, but damn, this is weird.
I do not recall that exact statement. I'm not saying it didn't occur. I just can't recall it.
All right. And you recall that Mr. Depp was in sessions with Ms. Heard with Dr. Banks, correct?
Yes. My understanding, however, is that they met with Dr. Banks, and then it was primarily Ms. Heard meeting with Dr. Banks for treatment after prescriptions and therapy.
All right. And do you recall Dr. Banks saying that she was not surprised that Amber was seeking a restraining order because of the violence that she knew existed in the relationship?
I do recall that, and it would be impossible to know that violence exists as a treating therapist or as a psychologist. Again, we're not investigators.
Yes.
However, I do recall that she said that because I remember having that thought.
Yeah, remember having that thought that, like, wait, how did you know that violence existed? You just asserted that as a bald... Because it's tough, right? Because the psychologist is in the position of believing their clientele, but that doesn't necessarily translate into an objective reading of the facts in a court of law. And I think, like, that's really the sort of gray area and that's where these two realities are colliding over and over and over again. The lawyers trying to make it asserted that because the psychologist believed Amber Heard, therefore it's true. And then this psychologist is like, well, you know, it's kind of going a little step too far there. You know, you gotta be a little careful there, a little bit more nuance. You know, believe, you know, what you're being told, but you know, necessarily represent it as that in a court of law. There's different skills required to prove one way or the other, right?
And do you recall Amy, and she's a psychiatrist, right?
Psychiatrist.
Okay. And do you
Psychiatrist,
recall
okay.
Amy Banks saying that it was clear to her that Mr. Depp was the one who initiated the violence?
I don't recall that.
All right. Do you recall,
So, but wait, if the psychiatrist is only in doing sessions with Amber and never hears from Johnny except from like the initial meeting, then yeah, of course she's going to have a pretty one-sided. By interviewing and using assessments, the psychologist renders their own expert opinion. Yeah, not necessarily believing the client, but just having no bias towards or against the client. Yeah, okay, see, that's exactly what I would think, right? Like they're there to sort of say, hey, this is what is rattling around in their heads, and this is what I think might be happening, according to what the profession knows about psychological disorders or afflictions or what have you. And then this lawyer is trying to turn all of that into like cold hard facts, like, didn't you remember this psychiatrist giving this testimony? Just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Very slippery.
that Dr. Banks said that she knew for certain that Mr. Depp was the one who had committed the violence because Ms. Heard reported it in the presence of Mr. Depp, and he did not contradict.
Amazing. That's certainty, everybody. That's what I call objective fact. When someone doesn't give the right kind of denial at the right particular time. He didn't deny it. It was said right in front of me. He didn't deny it. Therefore, all of it must be true. This is what the scales showed. This was the behavior in the interviews and the reflections on both history, demon graphics. Ooh, can I get some demon graphics? Ooh, that'd be pretty queer. Oh, I want some demon graphics. Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's going to be like a composite picture.
I do not recall that.
Okay.
It's just like
And
little.
do you recall that Dr. Banks ultimately concluded that it was her belief that Amber was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mr. Depp?
Here, you want to approach?
Okay, they're going to approach. Let's skip forward. This has been very spicy. I do not need to eat doll.
What was your answer to that last one? I'm sorry.
I think I can't recall, but I also can't recall that last question.
Do you recall that Dr. Banks concluded that Amber was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mr. Depp?
I don't recall that.
Okay. Now,
She's asking her a bunch of questions
also-
like, do you remember testimony that was delivered years ago in a court of law? And it's like, yeah, no, yeah, maybe a bit, like what kind of line of questioning is this? What's she trying to prove? I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me. The lawyer should have pointed out the positive scales shown in the MMPI would have helped Amber's case. What are the positive scales? But then like, wouldn't the lawyers just counter with talking about the negative scales?
also reviewed the records of Laurel Anderson, and you reviewed her deposition, is that correct?
Let me refresh my memory for a moment. I reviewed Dr. Anderson's deposition, yes.
Okay, and do you recall that she reported that Amber Heard had reported physical violence by Mr. Depp to her?
I recall that she said that Ms. Heard had reported that, yes.
Okay, and do you
Yeah, I agree, Lacey. Like, I think I mentioned that at the beginning. Like, she's trying to undercut her reputation because she ends up giving a report, and the report, as we saw in that shipwreck moment, alleges that Amber is showing the symptoms of BPD and maybe some cluster B personality disorders, and this woman's whole tack has been like, yeah, but that's not a diagnosis, is it? And the doctor's like, actually it is. It actually kind of is. We're just using different words, semantics. And that's game over. Like everything else is fallout from that point. So this lawyer's in shambles. She's like reaching for straws. It's just pure entertainment at this point. You can't cloud that with lawyers. Yeah, I see.
recall that she said that it changed over time?
I don't recall that specifically.
And do you recall Dr. Anderson saying that she had witnessed her face being bruised after the December 15, 2015 incident?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that, okay. And do you recall that Dr. Anderson said that Amber had reported that he had pulled out her hair, bruised her face, kicked her leg, and hit her in the head?
Yes, Ms. Heard did report that to her according to her testimony.
Okay. And do you recall that Amber Heard said that Mr. Depp was scaring her?
I don't recall that specifically.
Okay. And
She's basically just like trying to get her to confirm things she's heard. Like It's a really weird. Yeah, I just can't get over how bizarre this tack is.
Do you recall that Dr. Anderson said she believed that Amber Heard was a victim of domestic abuse at the hands of Mr. Depp?
I recall, no, I don't recall that statement.
All right, let's go to Bonnie Jacobs.
Bonnie
You said
Jacobs.
that you
everybody.
reviewed the notes from Bonnie Jacobs, correct?
Who's Bonnie Jacobs?
Yes.
Any lore
What you
masters?
testified to was that you discounted these because the first notes from Bonnie Jacobs indicated that she already had all of these symptoms, correct?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. I discounted.
Tell me why you discounted Bonnie Jacobs' notes.
I did not discount Bonnie Jacobs' notes.
Another false assertion. This lawyer can't go three. I don't think there's been 3 consecutive questions. I want to say 2, but I think to be safe, I think there hasn't been 3 consecutive questions asked by this lawyer that have resulted in the affirmative, that have been like, yes, this is a correct representation of the facts. Oh my God.
You said that
Make it
Bonnie
stop.
Jacobs, in her notes, had already determined that these symptoms were present for Amber Heard before the relationship with Mr. Depp, did you not?
What I recall saying was that within Dr. Jacobs' notes, she's documented instances in which Ms. Heard reported to her over the course of therapy that she was experiencing nightmares, recurrent nightmares, in fact, about childhood abuse.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the very first entry on Bonnie Jacobs' notes, and these are the notes, right? Do you recognize these?
I do, and we
Okay.
received more sort of at the tail end just a couple months ago.
All right, so the first of Bonnie Jacobs' notes is on 10/17/2011. Do you recall that?
I don't recall the exact date. I don't have anything in front of me.
And she was Amber Heard was already in the relationship with Johnny Depp at this point, was she not?
I
doesn't
believe
have
she
the
was,
notes.
yes.
Okay.
Sure, okay,
And
yeah.
in Bonnie Jacobs' notes, she documents
However, go ahead.
multiple occasions that Amber Heard reports to her physical violence upon her by Mr. Depp, does she not?
Okay.
There are several notes that indicate that.
I mean, that is like important information. Like, what is it? Like contemporaneous notes are like sometimes the only thing that can save you. If there's if there's a paucity of evidence, there's very little stuff to go on. Sometimes, that odd person who like takes notes, about their day at work, let's say, and puts the date and the time, is like bulletproof because the other side doesn't have anything to offer. So on one hand, it's like, yeah, it's important to know that this person reported, these instances of alleged domestic abuse, but that doesn't actually make the cake. It doesn't actually bake the whole thing. It's just kind of like the ingredients that are kind of lying around, like, oh, maybe it is true. But at this point, yeah, the lawyer's already sort of like shattered her own reputation. So I don't really know. She should have just ended the line of questioning. This is just...
Ms. Heard has reported violence by Mr. Depp, yes.
Many, correct?
I wouldn't qualify it as many. I'm not sure what you mean by many.
How many would you say?
I don't know. I don't have the notes in front of me.
Okay, well, what do you recall in deciding to make your opinions in this case?
Oh my God, this is just pure shambles.
I don't know. I don't have the notes in front of me.
Okay, well, what do you recall in deciding to make your opinions in this case?
Well, I'm confused about the dates because I know that Dr. Jacobs treated Ms. Heard even while she was in her prior relationship, leaving her prior relationship with her last wife.
Right.
Dr. Curry, I'm not going to ask you to try to bring in extraneous things. I'm asking you what you recall of these
But the
notes.
dates would have been different based.
I'm not trying to get... You should not be talking about dates and linear time. Time is not linear. It's a flat circle, everybody. This is where our documentation is so important. My notes have supported the client of sexual abuse in her court case. Holy shit. We get ripped apart, but document as our motto be. Yeah, absolutely. I'm thoroughly enjoying this cross-examination. It's honestly fascinating. I cannot believe how bulletproof this lawyer is coming across. Time is an idea. Time is a flat circle. The line is an idea. One thing I've heard that can like really protect you, this is sort of like a labor point, but if you have like a notebook where you only write on like one side of it, and you can't write on the other side, and the pages can't be ripped out, like you haven't ripped out any of the pages, just a simple notebook, it is, yeah, extremely valuable in a court of law. All this case is based on drink and drugs crazy. I mean, it's definitely been quite the riot. I mean, especially with so many eyeballs on it. Heard the line of questioning from the lawyer, like, you being excited about this high profile case is kind of sus. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a massive case. What are you talking about? Also, welcome to the stream, Extraordinary Cat.
On that alone.
Okay.
And I recall that there was quite a bit of information because these were copious notes spanning back in time from her relationship with Tasha.
So Dr. Curry, please answer my question. How many occasions do you recall
I don't know.
Dr. Jacobs documenting Amber reporting physical abuse?
I don't know.
Wait, are you telling me she did not receive these notes and then, write down in her book exactly how many times, this doctor received allegations of domestic abuse? Like, what is this question? It's such a bizarre... Did you not make a spreadsheet like I did? No idea. No idea what this lawyer is trying to accomplish. I mean, I'm sitting here from the booth and I've lost.
Now, you also said
thread.
that you listened to audio tapes
Tony,
in this case, correct?
hey, so I'm new to this whole thing. How come this is allowed to be filmed for the entire public? That's not all cases. Is it because it's high profile? From what I understand, Tony, Johnny Depp really wanted this to be televised, and Amber did not. It's a civil trial, but increasingly in court systems, I think just across the world, but you've even seen it, especially with the pandemic happening, courts are allowing cameras into the courtroom. It's been a big shift. It's been a big change. It's slowly been happening in some fringes, but more and more, especially with like Zoom, like being necessary just to like even attend trial. Increasingly, you're seeing cameras in the courtroom, and it seems like this was just possible in the state that the suit is being brought forward. Maybe that's why they brought it in this state. But we don't really question it. We just kind of, as the audience, we just bask in the glow of celebrities fighting their weird millionaire ego battles, and we just kind of laugh and point at it, I guess, and maybe learn something about domestic abuse or something along the way. Welcome to the stream, though.
Yes.
Did you hear Mr. Depp admitting to headbutting Ms. Heard?
That is not what I heard.
You didn't hear that?
Ooh.
I heard a conversation about headbutting. I did not hear him, as you said, admit to headbutting Ms. Heard.
Okay, that's your characterization of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the videotape of Mr. Depp in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. Did Ms. Heard imagine that or create that, or was she responsible for that somehow?
Wait, what? What kind of question is that? These questions.
What, if any, impact did that have on your opinions watching Mr. Depp in that video?
Guys, I'm not adult, okay. I'm 19 years old kid. Angry face. Okay, Vincent, welcome to the stream.
I'm not sure
I am Lamad.
it was one of many pieces of the exhibits and other collateral data that I considered. I'm not sure what the direct impact was or if that could be measured.
All right.
Well, you know what angry people do? They smash that subscribe button. They follow on Twitch. Okay, I'm done.
Now, Counsel asked you whether you had conducted any type of examination on Mr. Depp, and I believe your answer was no, correct?
No.
You did not review any medical records or psychological records from Mr. Depp either, did you?
I reviewed all of the records that were available.
All the
Do
records.
you recall reviewing
Really?
medical and psychological records on Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Do you recall Dr. Blaustein referring to Mr. Depp having rage?
Ooh.
No, I actually recall him referring to Ms. Heard in that note.
Oh.
Your testimony is that Dr. Blaustein was referring to Amber Heard as having rage?
I transcribed several of them.
She transcribed them. Oh no. Oh no, is this another shipwreck moment?
Notes, and I may be missing a time when I said that about Mr. Depp. The handwriting was very difficult to transcribe, but there was one instance in which I recall transcribing him stating that Mr. Depp reported that Ms. Heard had rage.
Yep. It's a shipwreck moment. Again, I literally transcribed the document, and you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Dr. Blaustein's deposition was taken, was it not?
I don't recall.
Do you recall, so I take it then you don't recall him testifying that Mr. Depp told him he had rage and demons?
I don't recall.
Ooh,
Do you
rage and
recall
demons.
Dr. Blaustein testifying that Mr. Depp looked at his wife Amber like his mother or his sister that he didn't like?
I haven't seen his deposition. I don't recall that.
Okay.
Now, did you see and do you know whether Mr. Depp has ever been diagnosed with any personality disorders?
That's not relevant to my task to conduct an evaluation of Ms. Heard.
Yeah, it seems like that's a weird question to ask again.
I do not know that he has had one. It was not in the records that he did.
All right. So one way or the other, you don't know whether Mr. Depp suffers from any personality disorders.
True.
That's not my task.
Okay. Let me go to IPV.
Did you do the thing that you weren't supposed to do? No, I didn't. Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Perpetrators. Would you agree that accusations of infidelity can be considered one of the characteristics of a personality perpetrator of IPV?
Accusations.
It can be a characteristic of a lot of things. It
Yeah.
is something that can be weaponized if somebody is trying to, or is having rage toward their partner.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
Like
go
if
to
someone has a weird personality disorder, they might say, "You're cheating on me," as an accusation to sort of like bring them under control.
Page 270.
Let's skip ahead a little.
Infidelity.
Okay, there we go.
Line 3, my question was, are accusations of infidelity considered one of the characteristics of a perpetrator, a personality perpetrator of IPV?
Objection?
The question is vague and ultimately ambiguous.
I don't understand the objection.
I'll overrule the objection.
And your answer under oath
Can
at
you
that
remind
time?
me of the page? I thought
Page
you-
270, line 3 was where my question was.
Okay.
And your answer's at line 8. You said it can be, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And interrogating your partner about unfounded accusations of infidelity can be abusive. Would you agree?
It can be if they're unfounded, yes.
Okay. And psychological consequences for a victim of IPV can include diminished self-esteem, correct?
Yes.
Depressed mood,
Yes.
Sure.
anxiety,
Yes.
fearfulness,
Certainly.
diminished self-agency,
Yes.
Okay.
feeling powerless,
Yes.
loss of
Okay.
sleep.
Yes.
And IPV is a traumatic stressor. Would you agree?
It is.
All right. And IPV is capable of resulting in PTSD, is it not?
It is.
Okay.
And IPV is capable of resulting in other trauma-based disorders, correct?
Ooh, oh man, I just came across, there's testimony of the police officer that responded to the 911 call. I have got to, yeah, that's definitely next up.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the most damning evidence I saw, at least what's changed my opinion, was body cam footage from one of the police officers that showed up to do a second follow-up to a report of domestic abuse called into the police by Amber, and there's no wine stains in the hallway, and the wine stains in the hallway are like some of the documentary evidence that is supposed to show that this dispute happened. So I'm really interested after this to check out the police officer's testimony, because I still haven't really understood how that happened. How is there wine stains after the police left?
Now,
Allegedly.
Amber's medical examination, she was cooperative, correct?
Her psychological, yes. She was cooperative and polite.
And in the 2 full days of examination, you felt she was polite and answered all your questions, except in one instance where she furrowed her brow when you were asking about friendships in high school, correct?
That's not correct.
Let's go to page 275.
Yeah, once again, you are misrepresenting me completely. Once again, you're full of shit. This lawyer is not doing a good job. I don't know. I don't trust this lawyer at all.
So we start on 274 with the, was she polite? You said yes. Was she cooperative? Yes. Did she answer your questions? For the most part, yes. This is, now we're on page 275, lines 4 and 5. And then my question was, did she at any time become combative or unfriendly with you or angry? And your answer was, there was one instance in which she appeared annoyed and the posturing forward a bit, more assertive tone, furrowed brow, when I was questioning something, following up on data that had been inconsistent about friendships in high school. Other than that, she was very polite. Is that your answer at that time?
That was my answer at that time, and it's inconsistent with the question you had just asked me.
And would you agree?
That is the full picture, and what you just said before was full of shit and totally made up. So please try again.
That appearing for this examination with an expert who had been retained by Mr. Depp more than a year earlier might be a little stressful?
Yes.
There's like honestly so much shade being thrown here. It's honestly incredible.
And in fact, not only had you been retained by Mr. Depp, but what had been communicated by Mr. Depp's team was that you had called Amber Heard a liar and a perpetrator of abuse, correct?
First of all, I'd like to clarify that I was not retained by Mr. Depp. I was retained by Mr. Depp's counsel. And what I can say that, yes, any examinee in a forensic context, you would consider that they're probably stressed.
Okay, seems fair.
All right, would you agree that all perpetrators of IPV have anger management issues?
Yes.
Okay.
And a large portion of IPV perpetrators have substance abuse issues?
Not.
And I think
it's
I'm
one
pretty
of
sure
many
IPV is interpersonal violence. Just to clarify for anyone who's kind of scratching their head, like, wait, what was that?
Perpetrators have substance abuse issues.
Not. It's one of many factors that correlates with intimate partner violence, but there are certainly many people who perpetuate intimate partner violence who do not have substance abuse issues.
All right, let's go to 131,
Like police.
line 17.
Intimate partner violence. Yeah, it sounds like one of those things. Probably I think yours sounds more right than mine, Loud Tyrant Youth. Let's see if we can bring chat back up.
131, you said?
Yes, line 12 is what I have here.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I
And
don't.
I'm talking about, you said, and just to
No,
give
man.
context, remember I was asking you what percentage of people you treat that are perpetrators, and you'd said 5%. Do you recall that, just for substance?
I see that here.
Okay, and then I said, of the 5% that are IPV perpetrators that you've treated over the last 8 years, how many of these perpetrators have substance abuse issues? And your answer was?
I see that I answered with a figure of speech, a large portion.
Okay, thank you.
Figure of speech.
And it's common for the perpetrator to essentially gaslight the victim, accuse them of being the perpetrator.
Yo, stop. Is she actually going to bring up gaslighting in this instance? Isn't this after Johnny Depp played the clip of him being like, yo, I lost my finger? And she's like, be a man or whatever. Now's a good time to bring up that clip. Oh my
To
goodness.
essentially gaslight the victim, accuse
Holy
them of
cow.
being the perpetrator. Would you
You
agree?
in a different area, or are you asking me a
I'm
separate
asking
question?
you a question.
Oh.
And it's common.
Sorry, can you please repeat it?
Yes, and it's common for the perpetrator to essentially gaslight the victim, accuse them of being the perpetrator. Would you agree? That's exactly how it was asked in the deposition. So
I understand it is a compound question. I'll sustain the objection.
And it's common for the perpetrator to essentially gaslight. I don't think that's, Your Honor, I think it's just one question. Let me try it.
Oh
To
my God.
gaslight the victim, isn't it?
That's a characteristic of psychological abuse, yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
it's common then for them to accuse them of being the perpetrator, the victim.
That's a characteristic of abuse from women perpetrated against men. It's actually very, very common. About 90% of male victims of IPV have reported that a female partner who abuses them makes threats to report their partner.
Holy shit. Wait, what?
That's a characteristic of psychological abuse, yes.
Okay, and it's common then for them to accuse them of being the perpetrator, the victim.
That's a characteristic of abuse from women perpetrated against men. It's actually very, very common. About 90% of male victims of IPV have reported that a female partner who abuses them makes threats to report their partner as an abuser.
Oh my
It's less
God.
common for men to make that statement
Oh my God.
to female
Oh my God.
partners just because there's less potential consequence.
Oh my God, everybody. Oh my God. That is why did you let her say that? That is an incredible, 90%? Basically, if you are a male victim of domestic abuse, you can expect your abuser to threaten you with the law and know that they'll, oh no, everybody. Oh no. Oh, not only is there a loophole in our culture, in our society and culture, but the bad women know about it. Like they know it. They know it's a tool they can, oh, that's really not good. But from the point of view of this case, why did you let her say that? That basically is a perfect thing for her to say for Johnny Depp's case, right?
Isn't it true, though, that some form of gaslighting is often present in these personality-based IPV scenarios?
Yes.
Okay. And it's distressing for the victim to be accused, is it not?
Absolutely.
It causes them a lot of fear,
Certainly.
Yeah.
and it causes them a lot of distress,
Absolutely, yes.
and in fact, they feel falsely accused, correct?
Yes.
And they feel paranoid?
Yes.
Oh my god. Sorry. They're zooming in on Johnny and I'm hiding it. Let me blow it up because this is just way too, this is freakishly on point. I cannot believe this lawyer is going down this road, is just basically doing Johnny's work for him. Oh my goodness.
the victim.
Oh my god.
Victim to be accused, is it not?
Absolutely.
It causes them a lot of fear,
Certainly.
and it causes them a lot of distress,
Absolutely, yes.
and in fact, they feel falsely accused,
Maybe.
Yes.
and they feel paranoid,
Yes.
and they feel frightened,
Yes.
afraid that everyone's going to believe the perpetrator, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, they're afraid they're going to lose their security, correct?
Can you clarify what you mean by security?
That's the next one. And they're afraid they're
Johnny was just asked, where are they going with this? He's like, well, I don't know. This is great, though. This is gold.
afraid that everyone's going to believe the perpetrator, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, they're afraid they're going to lose their security, correct?
Can you clarify what you mean by security?
That's the next one. And they're afraid they're going
Stop.
to lose their reputation.
Yes.
Oh my god. This is slam dunk stuff. What are you doing, lady?
Now let's talk about the testing for a moment.
Oh man. Oh
You-
man. Oh man. Oh man. That's
Talked about
painful.
the MMPI-2,
Painful
but that's
shit.
not the most recent MMPI, is it?
No, it's the most researched.
Okay.
Oh.
Now,
Yeah. Those would
You-
be in opposite to one another, right? The most researched and the most recent? It's like literally the
have an
opposite.
Elevated, on the MMPI, there was only one section that had elevated scores, correct?
No, that's not correct.
It was
Oh.
the K section, correct?
That's not correct.
Okay. And
Oh, come on, lady. You can get one thing correct. You can do it. I believe in you.
was there any elevated score over 65 on the MMPI?
I would need to take a look at it. If, I provided a 25-page interpretation outline. If you're able to pull that up, I'd be happy to go over any of the individual scores for you.
Can you recall any clinical scales for the MMPI-2 for Amber Heard that were above 65 as you sit there today?
Again, there are multiple scales on this test, 25 pages worth listed. So if you can pull it up, then I can review and give you a confident answer.
Yeah.
What can you recall as you sit there?
What can you recall from this document of 25 pages? Is she for real?
I'm hesitant to do
Stop.
that because I don't want to make an error by ignoring hundreds of scale scores.
And would you agree that you can't make a pathological determination or diagnosis if the scales are not elevated on the MMPI-2?
I would not agree with that.
Oof.
Now, one of the
Man.
answers that Amber gave
She's getting
is that it's
rocked.
hard for her to feel safe, correct?
What are you talking about the MMPI too?
Yes.
Again, I don't recall. There are 567 items on that. I would need to see her results.
Well, it's a common trauma symptom, isn't it, to not feel safe?
Sure.
And safety concerns are common among women who have been victimized, correct?
Women and men, yes.
Okay, and common especially for sexually victimized people.
Yeah, this is your part, eh, Lacey? We're getting right into the scales. Like, pause. I don't understand any of this.
Would you agree?
Any type of victimization, yes.
Okay, and hard to trust. That's a common after effect of interpersonal violence related trauma, correct?
Sure.
And memory difficulties. Amber said she felt she had holes. Do you recall that?
I do. And her account was different than typical memory difficulties with trauma.
It is common for individuals who have experienced trauma.
And it's actually
to
not
have-
common. No, it's a symptom, but it's the least common.
Oh.
In fact, a DSM-5 diagnosis for PTSD includes a, quote, inability to remember an important aspect of the traumatic event, end of quote. Am I correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And memory difficulties are a symptom of PTSD, correct?
Certain types of memory difficulties,
Certain-
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, do you recall when Amber says the first incident of abuse took place?
I believe it was, the first incident in which yes. So she stated that it was early on in their relationship.
Do you recall it?
I don't recall the exact date off the top of my head.
Do you recall it being a tattoo, something related to a tattoo?
I do.
Okay.
Tattoo.
Now, if someone had been subjected to a 4-year relationship characterized by
Subjected to a 4-year. Yo, I'm being subjected right now. Do you think she felt suffocated by the relationship? Oh my god, what a word to use.
repeated IPV,
Let's
Put
do
my
that
head.
again.
do you recall it being a tattoo, something related to a tattoo?
I do.
Okay. Now, if someone had been subjected to a
Malingering?
4-year relationship characterized by repeated IPV, they can have symptoms, correct?
But like malingering what though? What's malingering around?
Yes.
Intense anxiety,
Yes, certainly.
depressed or irritable states,
Actually, it's not so much states. When you're looking at a real trauma reaction, it's pretty persistent. It's less of these transient states.
intimate
really?
problems,
Yes.
relationship difficulties.
Yes.
And these are symptoms you're also attributing to the personality disorder, correct?
Yes, there are some key differences.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, let's
fair
talk
enough.
for a moment specifically about a couple of the profiles on the MMPI.
Okay.
This is not an exaggerated profile for her, is it?
No, actually, that was something unique. When she completed objective broadband measures, where the questions, you don't know what the questions are getting at, they seem completely random, She raised scores that indicated that she was trying to minimize any mental issues and appear completely free of pathology. When she took tests that asked questions that were specific to trauma, that's when you'd see these extreme exaggerations.
All right, let's go to page 3.
Whoa! Roll that
Completed
back.
objective broadband.
Roll that back.
There's some key
She's
differences.
saying, like, when we asked her questions and we weren't signaling to her that it was about trauma and they're just kind of all over the place with no rhyme or reason, she was minimizing pathology, but then when we started to focus on that, she was maximizing it. That's wild. That show if the client is trying to force certain answers or not answering honestly. That's so good. And she's basically getting caught by this. Like there's basically a built-in lie detector test and she's failing. And this testimony is like, yeah, she was kind of failing the lie detectors test that we built into her.
Now let's talk for a moment specifically about a couple of the profiles on the MMPI. This is not an exaggerated profile for her, is it?
No, actually, that was something unique. When she completed objective broadband measures, where the questions, you don't know what the questions are getting at, they seem completely random. She raised scores that indicated that she was trying to minimize any mental issues and appear completely free of pathology. When she took tests that asked questions that were specific to trauma, that's when you'd see these extreme exaggerations.
Yo.
All right, let's go to page 3.
Stop. Make it stop. Make it stop.
37.
I just don't know. I just don't know what the strategy is anymore. Like at this point, the ship has been smashed to bits against the rocks, and this lawyer is a sailor, desperately clinging to one of the broken pieces of wood, trying not to be smushed up against the rocks. Like that's basically where we're at. Every question she asks just brings her closer to ruin. This is honestly incredible testimony for Johnny Depp's side. I have no idea what they thought they were trying to accomplish here, but it's honestly one of the worst backfires I've seen so far. This is crazy. The scales are hypochondriasis, depression, hysteria, psychopathic deviant, masculinity, femininity. You mean there's only 2? There's only 2 on the gender scale? Well, that's broken. Paranoia, psychasthenia, schizophrenia, mania, and social introversion. You want to know how you want to know what my expertise is? English. That's what lets me read those words I've never seen before so well. Like hypochondriasis. Amazing content, everybody. Okay, some document shuffling.
Not an exaggeration. My question on line 7, this is not an exaggerated profile, is it, for her? And your answer under oath at that time was no, it is not an exaggerated profile. Do you see that?
Yes, we're
That's what
talking
you
about the
testified-
MMPI here.
You
Yes.
testified under oath at that time, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Now, the profile is also not consistent with malingering, correct?
Oh, there's your word. There's your word, malingering. I feel like there's another word that needs to be added to it. Malingering what, though? Like, what's hanging around?
MMPI-2 profile, it's specific to how she approached this test, and you're correct. For this test, it was a defensive profile, not an exaggerated profile.
So my question on line 10 was, this is not a profile consistent with malingering, correct? And your answer under oath at that time was correct. On this test, it is not consistent with malingering, period, right?
Is that-
That was your full answer.
Okay.
Okay. Now, is it your testimony under oath today that you have not been asked to testify concerning Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp, including any abuse?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, we're getting...
And you have not made any determinations, including any of opinions that Ms. Heard abused Mr. Depp or Mr. Depp abused Ms. Heard, correct?
Correct. That's outside of the scope of psychology.
Okay. And you cannot testify whether...
That is outside the scope of psychology, the entire domain. Yo, she's honestly at this point throwing so much sass, so much shade. That is a incredible answer to give. Wow.
Amber Heard suffered any emotional distress as a result of any of the defamatory comments that she has alleged Mr. Waldman made through Mr. Depp made through Mr. Waldman, correct?
What I can testify is that there was no indication of a decline in psychological functioning showing any injury since she's been with Mr. Depp.
Whoa.
You cannot testify.
Whoa, more rockers. I just had to keep rewinding because like the hits keep coming. That's massive.
Mr. Waldman, correct?
What I can testify is that there was no indication of a decline in psychological functioning showing any injury since she's been with Mr. Depp.
Wow. So basically, she stayed the same level according to this psychologist the entirety of the relationship with Johnny Depp. That's pretty damning.
You cannot testify one way or the other on that, correct? Your Honor, may we approach?
Wait. She just did. She just testified. Johnny Depp doing heart emojis.
Provide.
Yes.
In your report, nowhere in your report did you provide any opinion of whether Ms. Heard suffered emotional distress as a result of the defamatory statements. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, redirect.
Oh my God. Oh, is there? Okay, let's.
Dr. Kerr, you just asked a question about malingering.
Yes.
And made reference to the MMPI-2. Is there another test that you did to make a determination with respect to malingering?
Yes. So I also, well, malingering is a term that most psychologists, we try to be careful of it because it indicates an intent for secondary gain. I prefer feigning, which you had brought up earlier, because it indicates that somebody is intentionally exaggerating, but I don't know necessarily why.
Right.
So I think that's a more accurate term in general.
Okay.
On the MMPI-2, yes, there was no exaggerated profile. I also gave her the CAPS-5. I don't know if you'll remember, but that is the clinician-administered PTSD scale consistent with the DSM-5. And on that, there were signs of gross exaggeration. I also looked at the test results that were provided by Dr. Hughes, and on an objective test of trauma, there is a scale specific to intentional exaggeration on that test, and Ms. Heard was in the 98th percentile, meaning that she is she had engaged in extreme levels of exaggeration.
Oh my gosh. More. Just stop. It's already over. It's over. Done. It's done. It's just the 10 seconds have already elapsed. Oh no.
You were asked about intimacy problems, relationship difficulties associated with IPV and
yeah, 98th percentile. I think maybe Amber isn't to be trusted anymore. I don't think she's telling the truth. I think she might be exaggerating a little bit, according to this psychologist. I don't know. 98 out of 100 seems pretty high.
You then said that there were some key differences.
Yes.
What are those?
So what you see when we're talking about the personality disorders is there is a very consistent pattern of the aggression, the violence, the irritability. First of all, it's escalated. But second of all, it occurs when there is either, for the borderline component, a threat of abandonment, a perceived slight, feeling like the person is about to leave you, about to walk away to get some space from an argument.
Right.
It also occurs to a more mild extent, but when there's a loss of attention and a need to manipulate to try to get that attention back. But it's not, when somebody has PTSD, that irritability is sort of at a low, constant level, or it's completely random. For instance, you might have a Vietnam vet who went straight to bars for a period to get into fights with the hope that he would kill somebody and just self-destruct.
Right.
So it's a...
She thinks she's a victim. It's her perception, and I'm sure she is at some level, but not at the level she's accused Johnny of IMO. I'd like to hear her forensic psychologist. I'd like to hear her forensic psychologist take. What do you mean, her forensic psychologist take? I thought that's like the one who actually, that was the Dr. Banks, wasn't it? Or that was a psychiatrist, actually. Yeah. The part about gaslighting was really bizarro world, really uncomfortable to listen to, because it basically mapped onto Johnny word for word. And the only way you would have played that card is if you thought you were the victim, to all absolutely correct, holy person. Like, whew, what a card to play. Would they have Amber psychologist testify? I don't know.
Different type of presentation. IPV, it might be more irritability, but that's actually less of a symptom for female IPV victims. Usually what you'll see is somatic symptoms, the depression, a lot of fearfulness and anxiety, but typically more complaints about somatic symptoms.
Somatic symptoms are things that don't exist, right? They're like in your head. Sounds like she saw a psychologist for quite some time, as per the documents by Dr. Curry. Yeah, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Somebody was prescribing her medication. It was a psychiatrist, if I thought I heard correctly. But yeah, definitely very interesting.
Some of the professionals involved in this case had to take their patient at her word. What did you mean by that?
So when you're providing therapy, you're in a very different role than an examiner. When you're the forensic examiner, you're just really looking at data to make a decision. When you're a therapist, you're an advocate for your client's well-being. And in fact, it's considered extremely unethical for a treating provider to ever provide opinion testimony like I'm providing, because it's so well known in our field that you're going to have an automatic bias for your client. It's almost...
Yeah, she's throwing crazy shade right now, being like, yeah, anyone worth their salt in this industry knows that that testimony from that other psychiatrist is bumpkiss. Like, what a bad thing to do.
A sense of protection, advocacy, wanting their best, which is why we also know that it's very inappropriate to convey any sort of opinion about whether a crime occurred, whether abuse occurred. We can certainly believe our clients. We can support them in their therapy and take them at their word. But when giving opinions and consultations, we have to be very, very cautious and really only provide the facts. We would state things in terms of, my client did report this. I saw this. Here was our treatment plan. Here was the diagnosis. It's we're taught, we're trained to stay away from making any sort of opinions, understanding that most of the time, and most of Ms. Heard's providers were just treating Ms. Heard. They had never so much as done an initial interview with Mr. Depp and gotten his whole life story or his symptoms or his side of any of it.
Holy cow.
And they're going to be advocating, and the treatment relationship is about helping your client achieve well-being, not making formal psychological or psychiatric opinions.
So you're
I love when I can kind of come to the conclusion. I love this when it happens anywhere, where there's a layman who can sort of feel their way through a pretty complicated professional matter and come to a conclusion based on some sort of common sense. In this case, the psychologist is probably going to believe their client, but that doesn't mean they're going to say it's true and objectively true in a court of law. And then you see a professional come along and give you the fuller answer, the broader view from the industry, and sort of be like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So it seems like Amber Heard's lawyers cited a quack, basically a quack, and then this psychologist is like, yeah, that person was full of shit. I don't know what she was doing. She was going against our industry standard to not make opinions of fact in the court of law, but just based off of the testimony of their client. What is she doing? What a bad choice to make.
A question about a series of doctors. Dr. Cohen, treating physician?
Yes, he was a psychologist.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dr. Banks, treating physician?
There you
Dr.
go. There you
Banks,
go.
yes.
Dr. Cohen and Dr. Banks. Those are our sources.
Treating physician?
Yes, he was a psychologist.
Yeah. Dr. Banks, treating physician?
Dr. Banks, yes, treating psychiatrist.
Dr. Anderson?
Yes, treating psychologist.
Every one of them had to take Amber Heard at his word, right?
Yes.
Oh, overruled.
Thank you.
Overruled.
No further questions.
All right. Is this witness subject? Yes, sorry. Is this witness subject to recall?
That was pretty good.
All right.
I have to say.
Since you're subject to recall, Dr. Curry, please do not discuss your testimony with anybody, and please do not watch anything of this trial, okay? All right,
Got
thank
it,
you.
thank you.
You can stay there for a moment.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our afternoon recess for 15 minutes. Do not do any outside research and don't talk to anybody, okay?
Oh, I'm just gotta delete this spam bot. You get a tiny amount of success, and then the spam bots start popping up. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next one, and it's from the police officer. But I think there's even the Johnny Depp "I am a victim of domestic violence." So I think I want to watch that because it's pretty evocative.
Mr. Depp, I'm going to play another audio recording. This is a different portion from what Mr. Rottenborn played for you today. It's DX 598. I believe the portion Mr. Rottenborn played was designated 598B, so this will be 598C.
Okay.
And first, I'd like to play the portion from 31 minutes, 14 seconds to 33 minutes.
Sorry for the spam. Everybody should be stopped soon.
4 seconds.
All right, any objection to 598C?
No, Your Honor.
And then we will go on and play the second portion, which is 56 minutes, 27 seconds to 59 minutes, 54 seconds.
Okay. All right, 598C in evidence.
You know, and it builds, right? Like you build, I build, you know. It isn't like at one moment either of us sign a certificate of saying, or like sign the contract or say, okay, now a bloodbath. No. So acting as though there's a choice between the two is irrelevant.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to stay over having a bloodbath. I'm asking you, over walking away. I'm not asking you to have a bloodbath over walking away. I'm asking you to work it out over prolonging it and making it bigger.
Right, but if...
at least that's how I see it.
Indeed,
You know?
but if things get heated,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's going somewhere nasty, and the name calling begins, and all that stuff, I've got to get away. Because I don't want to be ever in a situation again like that.
That's fair.
Never.
Me too. Me too.
Never. So
Me too.
that's don't freak out if we do have a fight and I walk away.
I'm not going to do that. I'm asking you to stay when you feel you are also...
I know that some people need to deal that way. Like, they need to just go process on their own before they can, like, kind of re-engage.
interest of working it
I
out.
think it's a good idea for us to take a moment or two, or a moment, take some time. Take some time to think by ourselves without being, barraged by each other's fucking bullshit, whatever's.
Yeah.
I just let's take a break from it.
It's pretty fair.
And then come back, try and be calm, and walk through the thing. But I'm not gonna stand and fight with you. I will not. You can call me a coward. You can call me anything you want. All those names, do it. But I will not do it again.
Please stop asking. Please, can you stop for the sake of this conversation?
No, I'm just saying I won't do it again. That's all.
Okay. Totally normal, intimate person chat.
Okay, great. Then let's take our space, and let's not do this anymore. Because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop. I'm sorry.
Okay? So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. End of conversation.
Stop. Okay.
Why?
She doesn't say
Stop.
okay.
May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave.
That's insane to me. That's insane. Someone saying to you, like, yo, I need to leave so that we don't argue, and that person says stop? Come on.
When you walk away from me with that, it's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you.
Wow. Yeah.
So that you know, you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Well, then say goodbye.
That's so unfair.
I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me leave.
Let him leave.
Stop rushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say? Stop.
Why won't you say the words I want me to say? My God, he's asking for you to hear him. To say, he just communicated a very mature thing. I can't emotionally process this right now. I need to leave and come back and we can continue. And then she's kind of like using that to play the victim? What the fuck?
Stop poking me! Stop rushing me! Stop throwing me against the wall! I'm going, what? You don't like that wall? You don't like the fucking wall? Stop pushing me!
What?
I'm not pushing you.
What?
I'm rushing you. I said, I need space.
I need
I don't want
space.
this conversation anymore right now. I need
Okay.
space. And I will take my space, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I will take it.
Yeah.
And you will take your space.
Yeah.
But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the rhetoric,
continuing it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't. Okay, stop.
I'm just
Begging him to stop. That's what leaving is. That is literally the same thing. But she's trying to. Oh man.
Stop.
I don't
Stop.
know, man.
Now I have to go. Okay? So we will speak to each other in a couple of hours.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
Seems fair.
some kind of revelation makes you feel better. You know, I hope I do too. But we'll just see when I get home. We'll just talk, or we won't talk, or we'll
Figure it
finish this, or we won't finish it.
Okay. Seems legit.
But this is not love. This is not happiness. This is not. This is.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing me so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please
Whoa.
stop.
What?
Please, I feel like I have a heart attack almost every day. Please stop. Please
what do you-
stop
why-
doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why
You're
are
a
you
fucking
with me?
bully. Stop. Please stop. I've been begging you not to fight. I just said, can we please have a...
Wait, what? He said something that was pretty sane, which is we need to stop this and pick it up later. Or not. But, we need to move on with our lives. And she starts accusing him of abusing her? Like, what?
Normal argument, just even a normal conversation, fucking normal argument. And for the last hour, I've been begging you to please just leave it at that. Let's just go on with our night. I would have been able to come in with you. We would have been able to let it go in a few minutes. It would have been fine. It would just, if we allowed ourselves to have fucking normal arguments. Please, you're killing me with
Okay. I can't do this at 1.25. I actually have to do it at normal. She is speaking so quickly. Holy cow.
You're killing me. You're fucking killing me. Yeah, fuck.
Oh no, everybody.
Sean, could you,
Bro.
please, I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you this much.
That's
Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go.
I'm sorry I upset you this much. Like, come on, you have an out. Take it.
Thank you so much.
Yo, that was nothing if not unhinged.
Mr. Depp, in the beginning, well, first of all, do you know where you are when you're having this discussion with Miss Heard?
Holy cow. I haven't heard that before.
The only, excuse me, the only clue that I have is that
Sounds like a car, maybe?
Sean is being called. I'd called Sean and said to drive her home, or I believe it was probably at Sweetser, so then she could drive back. He would drive her back to downtown Penthouse 3. With she didn't seem in any shape to drive to me.
And earlier in the clip, there was a reference to a bloodbath. What does that mean in the context of that conversation?
An argument?
I don't know. Again, it seems like some word that was. It became
Objection,
part
Your
of
Honor. He said he doesn't know.
All right, I'll sustain objection. Next,
All right.
next question.
Moving on. Next question. Yes.
Mr. Depp, at the end of the day on Thursday, Mr. Rottenborn played an audio recording for you where you were heard saying you were going to hurt yourself. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I'm not going to play that audio recording again. It seemed upsetting to you, but I
Yeah,
do want to ask you a couple questions about that, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Could you please tell the jury when that recording is from?
The recording is from July of 2016. This was a few months after the restraining order had been put on me. I had been on tour through Europe, and then coming through the States, I got messages from Christian Carino, who was both of our former agent, saying that Ms. Heard wanted to meet with me in San Francisco because we had one of our last dates on the tour was San Francisco.
Okay.
And I was confused as to
You
why
got a restraining order, though.
Ms. Heard wanted to meet with me, especially since I was under a court order not to come within, I don't know, 100, 200 feet or something
Whatever
of
it
her.
is. Okay. This is a bit sussy.
So at first I said...
Objection, Your Honor. The question was simply, do you remember when that was from? It's beyond scope.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
So
Absolutely
where were
batshit
you when
crazy.
that recording was taken?
Yeah, no kidding, Lacey Wheeler. Well, we just listened to that forensic psychologist say that she was like 98 out of 100 in the percentile for exaggeration or whatever. So like I definitely heard that when she was talking to Johnny, and he's like, I just need to get some space so that I can, decompress and, like we can come at this when we're at cooler heads. And her response is, you're killing me. You're literally killing me. Like, you're Robloxing me so hard right now. It's like, whoa, boy.
That was in San Francisco at a hotel room. So we went to a hotel room so that we could finish the discussion that she wanted to have with me.
Right.
And how did that discussion go?
Not well.
Not particularly well. I was
Oh no, I called it. Oh no.
quite confused as to why I had been summoned.
Summoned.
To her, at that point, since all the news was
right.
All the news was just about the fact that I had allegedly done all these horrible things to her, and
Yeah, fair enough.
so I was talked into going there. I went and met with her in hopes that
Something.
she would retract
Right.
her lies that the world was now fed, had been fed,
Right.
and
Right.
in no way was she ready to do that, and I couldn't understand why I was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything had been taken from me.
Wow.
My children couldn't escape the fact that all this had gone down. So
Objection,
I was
Your Honor. The question was, how did discussion go? And he's talking about his children. It's way beyond the scope.
just talking.
Sir, just wait for the objection.
I think he's describing the context around that conversation.
It's way beyond the scope of the
All
question.
right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Mr. Depp,
Wow.
why were you threatening to hurt yourself in that audio recording?
Right.
In fact, I wasn't threatening to hurt myself. I thought that Miss Heard had brought me to San Francisco. At that point, it was clear it was under false pretenses. I don't know what she was after. So I had a knife in my pocket, and I just took the knife out and I said, "Here, cut me." That's what you want to do. Ultimately, you've taken everything. You want my blood? Take it.
Do you think he's Do you think he's retconning right now? Do you think like his lawyers were like, "This is a pretty bad look, so let's sort of rephrase this," or do you think that's an honest? I'm inclined to believe that he's being honest right here, but it's tough to say. He might have retconned this, but that's quite a reading, to say like, here's your pound of flesh.
My blood. And then she said, no. And then I said, look, if you're not going to take it, you want it. I know you want it. That's all I've got left. Take it. If she wasn't going to do it, I would have done it. Because that's psychologically, emotionally where I was.
Right.
I was at the end. I was broken. Not only had I had to deal with
No dignity left.
everything from coming in from, arrows from all over the world, but now I don't know what she was trying to do.
Right.
So I just thought the only answer is here, cut me.
Right.
Take my blood. That's all I've got left to give you.
Yikes. That's grim. That's actually kind of...
Obviously, there was no threat to Ms. Heard with that knife. It was about spilling my blood, because I thought that's what the only thing she didn't have at that point.
Holy shit.
And I was broken and really just at the end.
Wow. So they were playing like one of his.
Couldn't
lowest
take it
moments.
anymore.
Holy shit.
It's I thought everybody, I know that that's his job, but that was quite a cruel...
Objection, Your Honor. We're well beyond the scope.
He was about to say that was a cruel thing for the lawyer to do, and he's like, objection. You're not allowed to say that I'm cruel. Sorry.
Finally, I'd like to play a portion from Plaintiff's Exhibit 357, specifically the portions at 18 minutes 43 seconds through 21 minutes 46 seconds.
357, is that correct?
357, yes.
All right, so is this going to be another one where it's going to be an A, or is this going to be all that's going to be offered?
Why don't we go with A to
We're
be
going
safe.
with A. Okay, could you give me the numbers again, just so I have them for the record?
Okay,
What are you going to play?
documents. Let's skip.
7A.
Okay, we're listening.
It's gonna stop it.
I don't know how to get my reputation back.
We write a letter together.
That means
Saying that we're gonna take this out of the public eye.
Yeah, that would work.
Saying that we're gonna try and work this out on our own.
Okay.
Saying
It's an
that
off
the
ramp.
media has created such a fucking hateful storm that it's sickening. That we love each other.
Oh wow. Wow.
And
that's a world
we
that could have
make
been.
sure each other is okay.
That's a world that could have been.
Have we had fights in the past? Have we had this or whatever? Fuck it, they already know all that shit. Don't matter.
Right.
Here's the deal.
no, it matters. It makes. That you have no idea. Every ounce of my credibility has been taken from. I mean, and done so in a dishonest way. You know.
Wait, her credibility has been tarnished?
For the abuse thing is we've got to deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the main.
We got to deal with that, Amber.
Any way of my credit is my credibility. You know what? I don't.
And why did you put that out there?
Wow.
I did not. You forced me. Your team forced me to by going on the offense.
I didn't force you
From
to.
the very beginning. I promise. Look up the timelines to these things. Everything is. Forget it. Forget it. You don't believe what I say. You don't believe what I say. But I did not choose this. You got every step of the way. It's been an offense.
I did not put this anywhere. I didn't. Let me talk to the fucking team.
I did not call the cops. I need them no statement.
IO called the
I did not
cops.
call the cops.
You told IO to call the cops.
I did not call the cops, and I did not give them any statement when they came. I've been trying to protect you.
You told IO to call the cops.
When while it was happening?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a fucking finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can, a jar of can of mineral spirits thrown in my nose.
Right.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny.
Bro.
Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yeah.
I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
And I know it's a fair fight.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
Exactly, because you're.
Oh my. Oh, her face. Oh, you should not have said those things. You should not have
Mr.
said.
Depp, when
Oh, no.
did you have the conversation reflected in this recording with Ms. Heard?
That's game over. That's game over. It's got to be.
I don't recall exactly when it was.
That's got to be. That's GG.
What's your best estimate?
That was extremely damning. I can't believe.
My best estimate is that it was
If they knew they had that clip, why bring the case?
long before quite a while before the meeting in San Francisco in July. Excuse me.
How far after May 21st, 2016 do you think that conversation was?
Objection calls for speculation. Sorry, he said he doesn't remember when it was.
I'm asking for his best estimate.
I'll allow it if you can answer it. That's fine.
Sorry, could you ask it again? I was distracted.
How long after May 21st, 2016 do you believe that conversation took place?
Okay, it's a bit of a tough question, but
I would say that it was not too far, maybe a couple of months. It was far enough to where the world media was already bombarding me.
Descended.
So, It was an attempt to try to make all the
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope.
All right.
Beyond
I'll sustain the
scope.
objection. Next question.
What are you referring to when you said you and Miss Heard will write a letter together?
I was trying to make a peaceful settlement.
Right. Yeah, that's what I hear.
And what are you referring to when you say you lost a finger?
Lost a finger.
A very large bottle of vodka severing my my middle finger in Australia.
Right.
And what were you referring to when you said a can of mineral spirits was thrown at your nose?
One of the arguments on the island where Miss Heard had...
Even in the end, he was trying to protect her? I mean, yeah, I get that. Like, if you spend a long time in a relationship, you're invested in it, there's like that whole sunk cost fallacy, you're still trying to like appease them, trying to make them happy. Maybe if like we find this way and, you know, it's not the best, but it's a compromise. Everybody leaves sort of happy, you know, yeah.
Howling at me with some argument, and she picked up a can of mineral spirits about yay big and just heaved it at me, and it...
Humans are one of the only species, I think we are the only species, that can throw objects with precision. Lots of creatures can throw stuff, but they can't really throw it well and hard and precisely, like what we can do with baseballs or anything. So yeah, even in a domestic abuse situation, it doesn't matter if she's like 80 pounds. If she's throwing around something that's 5 pounds, that can do some serious damage. So yeah, this is like a pretty important part of the testimony, is that she's like whipping stuff at him.
It struck me on the bridge of the nose.
Monkeys can't throw well, open up those hard fruits? No, they can't. Like other apes, I think of like a chimpanzee. Chimpanzees can throw, but because they don't stand up, they can only throw from like a pretty lower, and it's not going to be very accurate. So yeah, we're one of the only creatures that can like throw overhand and like actually hit a target that's more than, you know, 5-10 meters away. We're the only creature that sweats, and we're the best long distance runners. So it's like those 3 traits are kind of what make us really dangerous out in the wild. So yeah, I absolutely believe. Yeah, it's part of why. You remember seeing all those videos of like us hunting down mammoths. What are we doing? We're throwing spears, right? And that's something that's dangerous. You have like this very small ape, but if there's enough of them, they can hit you and at a distance. Like, yeah, now I'm afraid.
Look, and right there, you know, the forehead.
And what did you say in response when Miss Heard said, "Tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence"?
Incredible.
I said yes.
Wow.
I am.
Wow.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Wow. That's it, everybody. That's it. That's the end. That's the end. Okay, well, if you were here, I hope you enjoyed your stay. It was a good stream this morning. Be weird. I'm here in the mornings. I'm thinking of changing my schedule from Thursday to Sunday in the mornings. Try to get more on some debate streams in the evening, especially this weekend. And the weather's starting to get nice, so maybe some more IRL streams in the future. I think I'll only do like 1 a month with my data plan. But yeah, I hope you have a lovely day, Lacey. Have a great day, the rest of you. Bye, chatters. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning, everybody. 7 a.m. Eastern. Bye-bye. I'll see you later. Au revoir. À la prochaine. Arrivederci. I'll see you later. Ciao.